Looks like it's recording.
Yeah, you are. I can see it. So we're good. Okay, we're live.
All
Let's
right.
call it. It's a live show. Hey, I'm Sean Irish.
And I'm Cheryl Whitestone. Hello.
Hey, and without too much introduction, we just thought we would go ahead and jump into a show. We're going to talk about all things esoteric and mundane, whatever comes to mind. And if people have want to have some feedback, just go ahead and put it in the comment section. We'll try and address that in a later show. How's that sound?
That sounds good. So I was just, it occurred to me, this whole mask thing is basically a satanic ritual that everybody is participating in. I mean, when they tell you to wear a mask, and then now they've got to the anal swabs, what kind of pervs do that? I mean, it's slavery, block off your face.
Yeah,
It's slavery.
it's that whole slave mess.
Submission to their
will, basically.
to their will. And then on top of it, the anal swab thing, is that pervy or what?
Oh, for a respiratory virus, you're gonna do an anal swab. I mean, that is the most ludicrous anti-science thing I've ever heard.
Ritual. It's getting
Yeah.
you to be in a ritual for them.
I'll go you one further. I think it actually has its roots in BDSM,
Probably. And
Yeah, it has its roots in making the vast majority of people submissive, so that the few people who filter up to the top in the party, who are the leaders, quote, the dominant ones, can just tell you, oh, tomorrow we all jump off a cliff, and they're sitting back laughing and having a glass of wine while we head over the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that simple.
Right.
Yeah. But you're right. It is satanic. It's the inversion of reality. Satanic inversion. Yes.
Yeah, and power over others. And a friends of ours, Heather Tucci Giraffe, called it, and a lot of her group called it POO, P-O-O, power over others. But that's the whole thing. I mean, they've taken everything and twisted it. It's just like we were talking about the arts. And they did an exhibit, at least when I was in Atlanta, called Bodies. And you saw great big, huge billboards of the inside of bodies that had been stripped of their flesh.
Dismembered. Dismembered and defleshed and deorganed.
And the billboards, there were billboards all over Atlanta. More stuff to desensitize people. I didn't go to it, but you went to it, and tell everybody what you saw. The back of the head.
Actually, I ended up not going to it either. Most everybody I know.
Yeah. What did you see?
Here's the thing. I know a lot of artists and a lot of fairly sensitive people in that respect. And most of the artists that I respect did not go see the Bodies exhibit because they were so completely repulsed by the fact of dismembered bodies on display. They were fascinated by the process. And this was all done in China. The whole exhibit, of course, was done in China. We suspect using Chinese prisoners.
And what was that? And tell them about the back of the head, that the head was blown out.
Yeah.
Was shot with a gun.
Yeah.
When the head, it was like they shot these people in the back of the head and blew their brains out.
Yeah, for instance, the blood vessels exhibition, that portion of the head was missing, the skulls, all that, like that they just had the one bullet to the back of the head. Yeah. And then you've got a perfect body specimen, and you just go trot it off to your morgue and you make the art. Yeah.
So that's China. And it was
in a nutshell.
Just to see the billboards. And then I had a friend who's an artist, and his daughter was going to a college up in North Georgia, and she was doing pottery, and she won first place in an exhibit. And what the exhibit was, out of clay, were dismembered body parts. And right. I said, I'm sorry, I can't go. She won first place. That's the creepy stuff.
Well,
that's going into the art and turning it into that
spectacle.
That type of in a way, it's a desensitizing us to the sacredness of the holy body.
Right.
And, and demoralizing when it's body parts. I mean, all just like the bodies exhibit. And what else? It's kind of everywhere. Ugly art is disgusting as, forget anything really fine or beautiful. That's not, they were even teaching them that to my son. Don't paint anything beautiful or realistic because, that won't get you anywhere. Do these things with angst. And then they were having him read these horrifying murder books and literature. And that alarmed me. I mean, that's just alarming. It's desensitizing. And
Desensitizing to violence, yes.
Yeah, to violence. And as all the shows on TV are like that, it's inhumane stuff, and it's just sick. It's their sick world that they're projecting and making everybody think it's normal. And it's not, that's not normal, nor is it conducive to I don't know, a healthy life. I mean, they're into the death culture. It's the whole thing is inverted. It's death culture.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a death cult. It's a death cult that I believe it's a death cult that's running the deep state, that's running the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, or Revolutionary Communist Party, as they like to call it, RCP, that's running the Catholic Church. I don't know about Catholics. There's a lot of good Catholics out there, but they're running the Catholic Church. That's a death cult. That's running this whole COVID nonsense. It's the most anti-science thing I've ever seen. The COVID nonsense that's running all this deficit nonsense. Like, we don't have to be living in deficits financially. What is that about? Like, we don't produce anything? That's crazy.
Oh, and the earth is real abundant, but there, and there's more land than anybody even knows, and the earth is completely abundant. Yeah. And I said that in a little video where, I had a melon, and there must have been, I don't know, hundreds of seeds in that. Say I have a garden in the back, I could throw those out. That's how the earth is. It's super abundant. It's just, we've been living upside down and under people, under this extreme lack. And then they've gone in to control the food supply and everything. Right. And to just convince us that, that it's not abundant, and that we are, that we are the ones polluting, where in reality they are and have been. And they're the ones who, put all the toxins and everything, and got, push chemicals and, Roundup and all that business. And we don't have to live that way. You can use salt and vinegar, but people need to get off of. It's like they're nursing on big pharma, big agra, and all that stuff, and just believe everything they push out. And people need to just take a look at the reality that we don't have to be living like that. And I guess if you've got some land, but at least be aware of it and let other people know. Everybody thinks they have allergy to wheat. You know what they have an allergy to?
Roundup.
Yeah. And
everybody's allergic to Roundup. It'll kill you.
Well, they're buying all these, what are they? Non-gluten products and all this stuff. Well, the truth is that, it's the Roundup.
I don't get anything for this. This is not your father's root beer, very tasty adult beverage.
Okay.
Just saying. I don't receive anything for that. It's not an endorsement, but I like it.
Well, anyway, okay. Yeah, I like root beer too. They spray at the end when a crop is ready to harvest. They go out and they spray all the grains with Roundup, with glyphosate.
Oh, you know why, right? Because it dehydrates the product, and so they can pick it, and it doesn't have to sit in the warehouse so long because it's already dry. It's horrendous.
It's dried and
dry and lifeless, dead.
And it ripens everything. but then
Right.
it's coated, that Roundup never comes off those grains.
Mm-mm.
So that's what is making everybody sick, and they don't even know. It's
the mechanism.
It's in your beer, people.
Oh yeah, it's in everything. It's in baby food.
It's in all of that, and even probably the organic stuff. When you try to get organic,
to some extent, yeah.
And people will go, well, how are you doing? And I go, I'm doing my best, dodging poisons.
Right.
I carton water because I don't have a well anymore.
Right.
The toxic fluoride in the water go to fluoridealert.org and look at all the diseases.
That's rat poison.
It's rat poison.
Sodium fluoride, rat poison. Exactly. It's also in your toothpaste. Why is rat poison in our toothpaste? Unless you remove it, don't buy it.
You know what's funny? You could buy other toothpaste, but if you're cooking with tap water, you're going to get more. If you're taking a bath in tap water, you're going to soak it up.
way more in a bath.
I say people, they got to get fluoride. They got to quit. They got to get away from fluoride. It causes a lot of diseases. And they go, oh, I don't use toothpaste with fluoride. That isn't enough.
It's the water. It's the water.
Nothing, man. It's the water. It's the tap water.
I have a shower filter.
Go I know that's good for rich people. It's like, but you know what? I know you're not rich, but I'm saying, well, I haven't installed it.
It's about $40.
I had a Berkey filter, but why are we paying all this money? I'm actually in an apartment right now, and there is mold coming through my pipes. They don't charge me for water. Probably
charge you for the mold.
Probably because it's so damn bad.
Right.
But if you go to fluoridealert.org, you can go and see all the diseases that rat poison fluoride does to your water, and it doesn't need to be in there for any damn reason.
Fluoridosis, your teeth.
It causes bone loss.
Yeah, the bottom third. Bottom third of these front two teeth were replaced because of fluoridosis.
They start getting white spots. The cattle all around.
And then they break.
The cattle all around those plants, or they fertilizer plants, and there was grazing area. Those cattle were their legs were falling in and everything. I mean.
And then the Roundup will finish them off.
The Roundup.
And that's why they can't let cattle live much longer than a year now, because they'll die.
Yeah, and then also if we eat that meat, then I mean, the whole thing is like enough to make me crazy. And I was in health foods way back.
Well, and then look at it. It's so insidious. Even if you're getting organic cattle, are those cattle eating any GMO products? Because then they're not. Then you just.
I don't really know, but
it's. How do you know? How does anybody know?
It's pretty shitty anyway that we have to do this, but this is big agri too. And as far as I'm concerned, big agri's got to go, big pharma's got to go. The fact that the FDA was just a gatekeeper for big agri, big pharma.
And to kind of wrap the topic, these are all death cults that we're talking about. I mean, we're still on the topic of death cults. We haven't left it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the people at the very, very top of these organizations cannot not know the destruction they're causing. They can't not know it. They're not stupid people. They feign ignorance and they feign incompetence because that's a great legal defense. But they can't be sitting at the top of a company. Just for example, say like a ConAgra or a Monsanto, which is now Bayer or somebody like that. They can't be sitting at the top of that company and have a 90 IQ. They're not stupid.
We know for a fact they know. And there was a whole worldwide agenda to kill off people.
Yeah. And they're they've all signed on to it.
Agenda, that's right. Every country did.
But I mean, the companies have actually signed on to it. The companies have adopted Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030. They've signed on to the genocide contract.
I know that. So a lot of people don't know that.
That's right.
And the whole, the whole green thing, is a warped thing.
Yeah, it's perverted.
Yeah, it's perverted.
It's another satanic inversion. Green is just a new word for we're going to throw a lot of money at bureaucrats and they aren't going to do a damn thing about anything.
They want us to not consume anything, and they don't want to own anything. They want to stack and pack us in little, places contained, and they want the whole earth.
People warehouses. Yeah.
I mean, the hell with it.
John. And meanwhile, John Kerry and Al Gore fly around on private jets.
Yeah, with their
Anywhere that, sure,
with all their mansions, right?
to 5, 6 different. What was it? Al Gore, who said that the sea levels were going to rise 12 feet. Well, what did the next thing he did with all that Soros money when he started, after he made that video, was go and buy himself a seaside mansion in Florida
There you go.
with a pool. He's got a pool right next to the ocean. Who needs a pool by the ocean? I mean, that's the epitome of luxury.
Yeah. Well, we know that, and maybe this isn't news for anybody. Maybe it is.
I hope not, but if it is, then it's time. It's long overdue.
Yeah. And
But
I don't know.
It's the death cults, really. We might as well just call them what they are. They're the death cults, and they don't present themselves as a death cult. But if you're smart enough to do the research, you know they're a death cult by what they do. The tree bears the fruit. The fruit is essentially a death cult.
Yeah.
So you know what the tree is.
And what's sad about it is that everybody just goes along and thinks that that's okay. I mean, they'd do better off not, if they're going to have a child, go through a midwife and not go to a hospital and, use natural stuff. I raised my son on propolis. Propolis. He never went to the doctor. He went to the doctor for one thing, and it was because he kicked his knee out playing soccer.
Right. But that's easy to do.
Anything else? And they didn't do much. Actually, I took him to a chiropractor, woman friend of mine. But he didn't, all that, when they get together, they pass on this and that. But yeah, so be propolis and sleepy time tea.
Right.
Because he was real, like kind of a mental genius, and he
hyperactive.
Wind him down a little.
Yeah.
He did a lot of drawing, made a lot of mazes.
Right.
He made a lot of mazes, and but yeah.
I think a lot of the younger kids are natural problem solvers, but they have it all taught out of them in school. By the time they get through public education, they can't solve any problems. They just regurgitate what they've been told.
Well,
but I've seen it in young kids that they take information in very fast, and they can problem solve in their own way if you let them. But that's not what school is about anymore.
No, they're just making worker bees and slaves. And, it's sad to see all of them in masks now. It's really it really upsets me to see that.
It's the first big step to mental slavery. Yeah.
It's horrifying. It's freaking to see children with the mask on. That's like child abuse. That's the parents. I mean, it's just horrifying. People are so afraid of that, and they need to go look at Dr. Judy Mikovits. They need to look at Dr. Buttar. They need to look at Dr. Tenpenny.
Yes, Dr. Tenpenny, right?
And get on BitChute. Look on there, and what are the others? Rumble. There are things on there. YouTube has taken down a lot of those people's videos.
I know, it's disgusting.
But they're on BitChute. They're on Brighteon. They're on Rumble.
Library sometimes.
Library, but the main ones, I think Brighteon, BitChute, you can find that stuff there.
Right.
And go listen to what an actual MDs have to say about this coronavirus, and that all you really need is, we're all zinc deficient. We're all vitamin C deficient.
D3.
D3. We all need some iodine.
Yeah.
But they're just supplements that we can take that, your chances are not. Oh, and I just found out that not only ivermectin works, but what is the other one? Hydrochloroquine works, but if you can't.
You just sent me an email about that.
Lysine works.
Lysine, that's the one. Lysine, yeah, the protein.
You can buy powdered lysine.
Yeah.
At your local. Please buy from a local health food store and get the powdered lysine, and take your vitamin C. You could get sodium ascorbate.
Right.
Now, when I was painting, I'm a fine artist too, so I would listen to these health lectures on YouTube. Dr. Suze Orman, she's probably a PhD, did long lectures that most people wouldn't listen to. And everybody has scurvy, okay?
Vitamin C deficiency.
Vitamin C deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
So you buy powdered ascorbic acid.
Right.
And you put a little baking soda in it,
Yeah.
and knock that back a few times a day.
Yeah.
Or get sodium ascorbate.
Or magnesium ascorbate's good too.
Well, magnesium is another one that's good to take.
Yep.
You know, if you're not careful with it, you got to take it slow because it'll give you the runs. But you know, I would say anybody maybe needs a good clean out.
Yeah.
But
just don't do the anal swab. Don't take it before the anal swab. It could be embarrassing.
Well, go ahead and take it and let them like stand there.
If they insist on the anal swab, you know, like if your employer insists you got to have the anal swab or we won't take it. You know, you lose your job or you got to have the anal swab. So well, then have a lot of sodium, ascorbate, and have a lot of magnesium ascorbate, and then just let them rip. You know.
Bring an extra pair of underwear.
You bring a change. Yeah, bring a change of everything because you might need it. But that'll teach them to require an anal swab.
Well, the thing is, people can go on the healthyamerican.org and they can get lawful papers.
Yeah.
Get out of all these things. Okay. They can get educated on what's constitutional, what's law. And, you know, and so there's no reason to think that you can't do that. And there's,
right.
You know,
Dr. Rima too. Have you heard of Dr. Rima? She's good.
Dr. Rima,
yeah.
And married to General
Stubblebine.
Yeah. Of course, they left the country, but you know, they were targeted.
Well, and they were smart.
At least she got up and told, you know.
Remember Jesse Ventura left the country a while ago too.
Yeah. Well,
sometimes you got to do the smart thing instead of making yourself a big target.
Right.
Yeah. They have less influence elsewhere. That's really what that's all about. Doesn't mean they still can't get to you, but you become less of a threat. They become less of a threat. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, these are not good people. They will. They will kill you.
Well, look, you know, they'll run people over.
Dr. Suzanne Humphreys had to leave the country as well. Wow. And then Dr. Jennifer Daniels, who learned, she's Harvard educated and had a medical practice up in Boston, somewhere in that area. Mm-hmm. And she was fine. She had too many people were getting healthy. She wasn't prescribing enough drugs. She was getting pressured. And then she found the old medicines ways through some of her clients, her patients who took, they were telling her about the old folk remedies, which is pure gum spirits of turpentine.
Yes.
And don't be going in just drinking that like anything.
No.
Go look up
little tiny amounts and get the cleanest, purest turpentine you can. There's a couple sources for it. You can use the stuff from the drugstore, but it might have might have trace metals. Okay, they stopped selling it. They stopped selling pure gum spirits because it's just pure gum spirits is what you're looking for.
It's pure gum spirits of turpentine.
It's an art supply. Yeah.
Let me finish. Okay. And it's got to go either on a sugar cube or on honey. And I would highly suggest you go and you search it in YouTube and see what other people did. But it gets rid of parasites. It cleans a fatty liver. You don't get fatty liver just from drinking. You get it from eating all this Roundup and this bad food with these oils that the human body was never meant to ingest. Right. Like canola oil. So please look into
canola. Do people even know what canola oil is? It's literally Canada Oil Company, canola. It's rapeseed. It's genetically modified rapeseed. It's toxic in all forms. But what they did is they made it sublethal, and that's canola oil. So and there you go.
They have, that's exactly the story. And it's rapeseed and it's fine for engines, but it's not good for humans. And then they GMO'd it. And because
if cattle eat rapeseed, they die. It's in the Bible. I mean, it's been known for forever. Rapeseed's very toxic.
And get this, Garden of, that's all I'm going to say. Has got organic chips, and it's got organic canola oil in it.
Which is rapeseed. There's no such thing as organic rapeseed.
I don't really care. I'm not buying it.
I don't either.
I don't even know. There's really bad fats. They're eating mayonnaise with soybean oil.
Right.
I mean, I get all this.
The soybeans, all GMO. All the soybeans GMO.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like really, we are definitely dodging poisons, and the brain and everything else needs good fats. We need, extra virgin coconut oil, put
Yep.
it in your tea or your coffee. We need to, you could cook with it. You could get something called Luana, which I looked it up. It's
Right.
refined, it's still good for you. Palm oil is fine for you. That's what a lot of the, I don't know what you call it, like tropical world eats.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's all right.
If it's unrefined.
Well,
If it's not hydrogenated, yeah. As long as it's not hydrogenated, it's fine.
well, exactly. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean all non-hydrogenated oils are good for
Correct. But you would definitely want to, anything hydrogenated, bad idea.
you. Well, most people should know that. And grapeseed
You
oil is
hope.
good for you and all those different things. Anyway, it's now we're at, take care of yourself, people, and do research, because if you don't,
Yeah.
you're gonna end up sick before your time and everything else. And there are ways.
Right.
There are things you can do, and you can go and listen to these good doctors who are sharing.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful for, for all these people that are sharing their knowledge and all that.
There's one thing I learned that I'd like to share, and I didn't originate this at all, but I learned it from somebody. I don't remember exactly who, because most of my sources have been taken off of YouTube and Facebook and everywhere else. So God knows I couldn't find the video if I looked for it. But the glyphosate that's in Roundup mimics glycine, which is a natural protein in our bodies, and it's a very critical protein in our bodies. It's the difference between glycine, natural glycine in your muscle fiber is like a streamlined, like a sports car going down the road. There's just no resistance, nothing. And when glyphosate comes in, this horrible glyphosate molecule comes in and mimics glycine and gets in our bodies. It's like a jalopy running down the road with the doors open, and the first parked car it comes up to, you knock the door off the damn thing, and people get injured. They have these inexplicable sports injuries where they'll step off a small stair like this, right? Like anybody can step off that, and their Achilles tendon bursts.
Well, doesn't it?
That's a glyphosate injury. That's not a natural injury unless you have a lot of. If you're